a couple of your injured guys looks good on the track earlier this week, which I'm sure you're relieved by. Who's ready to come back?
Well, Dom's going to come back in. We don't know whether the hamstring that he had last week was a corky or a strain, so we just erred on the side of caution with a 4-day break. So he was putting his hand up to play last week, so that's an inclusion. But Archie will come back in, and then we've got young Foley playing his first game for the club, which is great. Local boy this time around, so I think he's at the same junior club as Jack Darling and Matty Prittis. So Scarborough, Sorrento, Duncraig, I keep getting that wrong. Junior footy club. So yeah, they're producing some pretty good players.
What sort of role will he be playing? Obviously, you lose Gov out of that back line. How does he sort of slot in?
Yeah, he'll play down back and maybe a little bit of wing. So that's his role that he's been training up for. So expectations are the same as every other first gamer that we've got that comes in and plays his role and he contributes in every way he can.
What do you like about Luke Foley?
Oh, Luke, yeah, he's got a good tank, pretty measured the way he's gone about his craft, and he doesn't get too flustered. So, all the attributes you sort of need as an AFL player. Obviously, first game he's going to be a little bit nervous, but the composure, and he's got pretty good skill. So he sort of fitted in pretty well with our backs. Intercept marking's been a bit of his feature for his size. So, but I'm not going to put too much praise on him. It's his first game, so we'll just hopefully he complies and fits into our system, and learns from the experience.
You had 5 last week under 15 games. If he doesn't replace any of them, it becomes 6 under 15. Is he coming in for a young bloke, or are you going to rest some of the older guys this week? What's your approach going to be towards that?
Look, we've got enough players out of our side at the moment to rest any more would be a challenge. Haven't got many more to play. So we've also got the bye coming up, and I suppose gone are the days where you shut down 5 or 6 of your players because of the finals coming around the corner. There's a 2-week break, plus if they don't play this week, it gets close to 1 game in a month, and then you start to think about form and continuity. So yeah, if everyone's fit, they'll play. If anyone's sore, they won't. That was sort of our motto this week. So yeah, most of our guys put up okay from the weekend. Obviously, Gov's not going to play, and Dom is. So there'll be a couple of other inclusions, but yeah, we won't be resting anyone just for the sake of it.
So Nick, Nat and Josh, they're definitely, we can say they're in there?
Well, yeah.
Everyone's being spoken about, obviously.
Yeah, give us some sort of surprise for the team in the next 3 or 4 hours. So, got to keep North guessing a little bit. So we'll have to wait till then. But we're not doing anything drastic. If guys are fit and available, they'll play.
Adam, is fair to say that Elliott is, I guess, the biggest concern moving through the next 3 or 4 weeks? It sounds like it's going to be a tough proposition for him to get up without too much concern for week 1.
Yeah, it's a slow process for these groins, and unfortunately I've gone through that too back in my playing days. And there's no time frame. It's just when it starts to feel a bit better, you can advance. So we shut him down for a couple of weeks. Our plan was to reintroduce him into some training and some straight line running. He hasn't gone past that phase yet, so we'll wait to make a final assessment till we get back, and we'll go from there. So we obviously won't risk Yowie for his longer term future, but at the same time, if you can get him up for this final series, then we'll definitely do so. So we'll make a call on that when we get back to Perth.
What does he have to do to
Approach, Adam?
Okay, Josh.
I was just going to say, is it a similar approach with guys like McGovern and Redden as well? Obviously, you learn a lot with, I guess, the management of Shuey in the past about trying to be a bit more conservative, but are they too good to leave out come finals if they're close-ish?
Yeah, each injury is different. I mean, hamstrings are a different risk than osteitis. The way you describe playing with osteitis is you can play, but you just won't play very well. So, and you might be a bit sore for it. So that's a bit different than Redo's got a plate inserted in his thumb. He's got full range now. He can't feel too much discomfort, so he'll advance. He hasn't stopped running really. Gov did a bit of walk jog yesterday, so he's progressing well. Luke Shuey's the same. He's probably would have been available for next week had there been a game. Jamie Cripps is he's fit. He's just in Perth at the moment, so. There's those guys. They're a little bit different than Elliot. Elliot's sort of you really got to tick some boxes before you can advance his running. Where the other boys are your standard type of injuries that we expect to recover pretty quickly from.
So boxes a matter of movement, pain, scans. What does he actually have to do to improve his fitness? We've seen Joe Danaher go through it for a long time. What does osteitis mean for the player to be able to say, I am fit because I've done this?
Yeah, everyone alludes to Joe Danaher. I reckon there's probably 4 or 5 a year at every club. So, and everyone recovers differently. So it's largely based on pain with a player. So it's a difficult injury to overcome. It's hard to overcome it in a short period of time because you do have to back right off and then you have to rebuild. So, every week that you have off, you need a week to rebuild. So that's what we're working through with Yowie, and we just can't advance it until he's ready to take the next step. So, like I said, we'll make a call on that when we get back to Perth, and we'll tell you everything that's going on once we know.
Simo, just entering this final round, how different is it to last year? I mean, last year you had the control in your own hands, whereas this year you have to rely on quite a few results to go your way.
Just one. We need to win, and then we need another team to lose. So we, every year's different. This last round, it does present different scenarios, and I'm sure the AFL and everyone's watching this weekend with excitement because there's that many different ways the season can finish up. So, yeah, last year was disappointing. I think Hawthorn were unable to play finals, and we needed to win for top 4 from memory. And we played poorly, and they played really well. Really springboarded them with their back half of the season. So this year will be different. The year before that, we had to beat Brisbane in Brisbane to finish top 2. So every year going into the last game, especially with a reduced fixture, there's a lot more importance on the win. So yeah, we know what's at stake this week.
How are you approaching continuity? You've got blokes playing all over the joint at the moment and other guys who are trying to come in from a coaching perspective. How do you view keeping a guy in a role that he'll have during finals versus playing a role that will help you to win this weekend?
Yeah, it's a good question. We don't often throw people around everywhere. We have a pretty standard way of playing and positions are pretty set. But we do have second roles that our players train up for, and we've had a couple of third roles we have had to introduce lately, but it's just giving good opportunity to our squad. I mean, we've probably played 37 or 38 players on our list, which, whilst it's not ideal, I think win, lose or draw this season, we take a step forward with exposing some of the AFL opportunities to our players. So, it'd be good to get settled. Not often you make 6 changes and 5 changes and 4 changes. 1 or 2 is probably your limit, but I think every club's gone through that as well. We seem to be hit a little bit harder at the moment, but we'll get our players back, and it won't be a reason for us not winning.
Just a little bit
On who, sorry?
On North Melbourne.
Yep.
Just your thoughts on them, what you're going to have to look at, where they can exploit you.
Yeah, I suppose we're sharing a hotel with North, so it's quite intimate. The same cafe roll across a fair few North boys. So I think what I said earlier about being the last round of the year, it's from a North point of view, I suppose it's opportunity to put their best foot forward. They haven't been great for the last few weeks. I think Shorey's the first to admit that, but we're going to plan for them at their best, and at their best they bring a lot of pressure, and they're very contested base. So yeah, we're looking at that. And like I said, last game of the season, your motivation does change a little bit. So we'll worry about us and our motivation and how we need to take on the Kangaroos. But we're planning for them to play at their best, that's for sure.
to, I suppose, get that home final. Eventually, I know it's in a couple of weeks, but to get that home final, and would you obviously like to have a few more, have as many as you could, but it's obviously not panned out that way?
No, that's the lay of the land. It's the government, and we understand why. So if we don't finish any, I don't think we can finish lower than 5th. So we'll play a home final, or if we finish in the top 4, we'll play away, and I don't think we come back home. So that's unique. It's just a different season. You know, the Melbourne clubs are used to probably playing final series around Melbourne. The interstate sides like Port Adelaide and Brisbane in particular, then they've got an opportunity to play some footy at home all the way up until the grand final, which it's a unique season. It's never going to be even. So this is just a different type of unevenness, and we probably sit in the middle, not doing it as tough as the Victorian clubs, and not doing it as not as easy, but the same opportunities aren't the same as the Brisbane and Adelaide teams. So no, looking forward to it either way. I mean, if you got to be good enough to win in the state if you're going to go anywhere this year. So nothing's changed from every other year with that.
Adam, just on obviously the number of debutants now you've had this year. I mean, obviously a lot have probably been a bit due to injury, but given you've got an older list, how valuable is it going to be long term getting some games into these guys that might not have gotten experience otherwise?
Yeah, I think everyone who got drafted in 17's played, and everyone who's been drafted in 18 has played as well. So, I mean, that doesn't mean it's changing of the guard at all. Give them a sniff, give them a taste of it, something to reflect on end of the year. Quite often it pays you back in a pre-season the next year when they have a bit more confidence and continuity with their bodies, and so that's been the bonus for us. Aging list, I think if you strip back our core part of our side, I think there's a bit of footy left in them. We're always going to have champions of the games transitioning out of the side, but I think what's underneath is pretty exciting as well. So if we can complement that with a couple of fresh faces in the next 2 to 5 years, hopefully we can sustain some success.
And just one of those guys who, I guess, when you talk about transitioning out, Will Schofield, obviously hasn't been given many chances this year, but the door really opened for him now with Gov out. How hungry is he to make a mark in what might be his last year?
Yeah, well, he did it a couple of years ago. He came in pretty late and played a pretty important role for us in 18. So I think the pleasing thing is we've also got Harry Edwards, who he debuted this year, and he's ready to go as well. So having that opportunity where you play the experienced, hard-nosed professional or the young, exuberant guy who knocks on my door every day asked to play. So those two discussions are had every week now, and it's good to have flexibility. But yeah, Scoey's been a tremendous player for our footy club. He's done some massive job for us in really big situations. So yeah, we're lucky to have him.